it's Lindsey from the blog Books for Christian Girls, and today I'm going to be doing something, again, a little different, and I'm going to answer y'all's assumptions about me. This has been an incredibly popular thing going around on YouTube, and I actually sent out an Instagram story with a poll asking, are you tired of these or do you like them? And it was a resounding 80 to 13 that y'all liked them. So basically I had y'all submit book assumptions and other assumptions because I've got to keep this book related on this channel. So let's go ahead and just get started with the book assumptions. You might want to grab yourself a drink. I made some cucumber, green apple, spinach juice. I love juicing right now. It's kind of my current hobby slash it's good for my body and it smells so good. Okie dokie, let's get started. So the first assumption for the book assumptions was you avoid YA books, and that is false. I really enjoy YA books. If we're talking about the Christian market of YA books, I definitely enjoy it. The only YA I would say I avoid is in the secular market when there's content. And then in the Christian market, I'm not big into fantasy. I'll read it, but I'm not big into it. But then also the teen drama, like unnecessary teen drama and angst, that would be the three types of YA I guess I avoid. But no, I like YA typically. Fantasy isn't your thing. That is very true. Just confirmed that. You probably like cozy mysteries. So I've always thought of a cozy mystery as maybe where like a murder doesn't happen, but it sounds like it's more of just, it's not like gory in the details or that kind of thing. And so yes, I do enjoy cozy mysteries because you're not typically having that heart poundingness, and sometimes I like that in suspense books. But most of the time I want to be relaxed when reading, and being actively chased by a bad guy, that's not very relaxing. I know, crazy. You prefer paperback over a hardcover. Completely true. You always look for something good in what you read. This is interesting because my mom and I discuss this a lot. And if the book is just garbage, then no. No, I'm not going to look for the good because the other content kind of cancels it out for me. So, I don't know, you always look for something good in what you read. That's a really interesting one. I say in life, I definitely try to keep a positive attitude, but when it comes to my fiction books, I mean, I'm over 6 years into this business, and I have to say I'm a little more cynical, is that the word? That I haven't tried this author, am I gonna like her, who knows, that kind of thing. And so I always look for something good. I think I try to, but it often gets discouraged because of content, and that cancels it out in my mind. You like books that have romance. Okay, I'm again going to assume all of these come from the Christian genre and then the subgenres. So in the Christian sense, I'm typically okay with it. I don't know, I feel like some Christian romance books are a little way too much in the romance content. So I like it to be light romance, I guess would be the correct word. That is the majority of what I read because that is really all that's available in Christian fiction. I have been asked so many times to do a video for my favorite books that don't have romance. And y'all, I can think of two. I've read way over 1,000 Christian fiction books, and I literally can only think of two. Now, I'm excluding preteen, but even then, sometimes they have crushes and whatnot, which, yeah, that's normal, but it's hard to find non-romance books in the Christian market, which is disappointing. And yeah, so I guess I do enjoy romance in a sense, but when it's lightly done, I think that's better. You read primarily historical Christian fiction. I think that's definitely one of my top two genres with YA and historical fiction. Probably, I wouldn't say I primarily read it, but I would say that's one of the ones I more often read. I definitely try to do YA the most because that is more in the target market of BFCG, but there's a lot of good historical books out there, and then there's some other ones. But yes and no. That you read all the time. No. Goodness, y'all. Oh, goodness, no. I kind of wish I did, but actually, because I was supposed to study abroad, I had everything pre-done for over 4 months. And now that I'm back home and I'm not studying abroad, it worked out where I didn't really have to read, so I could focus completely on getting my degree done, which it's done. I'm so happy that it's done, y'all. I'm so happy. And so I actually just read, oh gosh, in 4 months I probably only read a handful of books, and then I listened to a lot of audiobooks while I was making the felt flowers that I talked about last week, or last video. And yeah, I don't think I read all the time. Nope. No, it's been a while. It feels like anyway. I did just read a nonfiction book that was really hard and gritty, but I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I definitely don't read all the time. It would be nice to, because then I could work on my TBR. But at the same time, I'm also having a hard time finding books that are different or that interest me in the Christian market, because I feel like we're seeing a lot of the same things over and over. And now that's not to say all of them are, but there's quite a few I'm like, oh, I remember a similar plot from a book that came out in 2013, or something like that. But yeah, you don't read books outside of Christian fiction. That is basically a true assumption. I have been exploring a little bit out into the, I guess, secular market, which I know, nerve-wracking, but I would say probably 95 to 98% of what I read is Christian fiction. I have been rereading or listening to the Nancy Drew mysteries, and those obviously are not Christian. And then I've experimented with a few contemporary YA authors in the secular market. But again, sometimes there's just content that I'm just, was that really necessary? And so most of the time that is my go-to genre is Christian fiction. But I'm having difficulty because I've read mainly all the books that interest me. And there's ones coming up that looks great, but I just have to wait to the release dates. Okay, let's see. You prefer romance. Again, I kind of just discussed this. Yes and no. If it's light, yes. But once it gets getting heavy on their feelings and the staring at the lips and other content, I'm just not there for that. So, kind of true, kind of false. You don't like old and worn copies of books, but prefer them to be like new. That's an interesting assumption, because I do like my books to remain pretty because of the whole Bookstagram when I was doing Bookstagram. Hopefully by the time this video is up, I've gotten better, because this video is coming up in late June. I'm filming this earlier June. So hopefully this is, hopefully I have new Instagram pictures, but no promises, y'all. So I do like to keep them new for when I do a cover shot. I'm like, the cover's gotta be good. But at the same time, the majority of my books come straight from the publisher or author, or I buy them at a really low price at like local bargain bookstores, and they're like new. So I'm more willing to pay a bit more for a better condition book than getting a cheaper book for an older condition if I think I'm really going to like it. Did that make any sense at all? I don't know if that made any sense. Probably, yeah, I do prefer them to be nicer condition than worn and old. But I mean, if it's an old book, like I have a few old Nancy Drew books, those are in sad condition because they've been through a lot. They're old. So that I have no problem with. My favorites from my childhood, I read them so many times, they are falling apart. That's fine too, because hey, memories. But if I buy a book used, I'm more likely going to go towards a nicer copy one. And I typically never will get one with a spine crack, because that just hurts my heart. So again, kind of true, kind of false, but mainly true, I guess. Okay, let's see. You don't listen to audiobooks often. That was completely true up until March of this year. And then I started listening to audiobooks. I feel like Angela would be so proud of me. And I've been listening, I guess. I've been listening to the Nancy Drew audiobooks. I got the first 11, I think, done. And then I started a couple other ones. But, yeah, it's still, I have to find a narrator I like that's not annoying. And the first lady who did the Nancy Drew books, I really enjoyed her style. And the second lady was okay. But yeah, typically I don't listen to audiobooks, like, ever. I've never been a fan of it. But when making these felt flowers, I'm like, I need to do something. I can't just be focusing on this. I am such a multitasker. It's ridiculous. So I found they had them on audiobook. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I downloaded those from my library. And I went to town making felt flowers. So yeah, that was a true assumption up until March. But now I guess it's false. It's still not my go-to thing, but if I'm crafting or doing something with my hands and I want to listen to something, then I'll either put on an audiobook or I'll find a video that on YouTube that I don't really have to listen to. I know I could do a podcast, y'all, but I just have a hard time with podcasts. Eventually I'll get there, maybe. You are picky about what books you read. Definitely true. I think picky's a fine word for that. Yes. Yeah, completely. I mean, I've read such junk over the years. Like, even prior to BFCG, I was very much into the secular market, and I didn't read, like, certain mainstream books, but there were quite a few I read that I still think about. I'm like, that was kind of scarring, Lindsey. So, yes, I'm definitely picky nowadays, especially since I can be with where I am at in BFCG. So, yes, yeah. I'm picky. I have no problem saying that. You love romance books. I kind of already answered that one prior. You don't like fantasy books that much. Kind of already answered that one prior. Yeah, fantasy is not really my thing. Not really my thing. You don't read ebooks. I do read ebooks, not as often as I used to. Like, a couple years ago, that was a large majority of what I read was ebooks, because of authors sending them for review, and then just my library. I live in a large city, so I have a wonderful library that gets a lot of the new things, which I'm very grateful for. So I do a lot of the ebooks through my library. But nowadays, I honestly don't. I do have a list on, like, my phone, on my library's app, of, like, all the different things I want to borrow from them at some time. But currently, I haven't read an ebook in a while. But I do, sometimes. So again, true and false. You have read 90% plus of the books on your shelves. That's a really interesting assumption. I like that one. I would say that's probably a fair estimate is 90%. Of these main bookshelves, I've read all but maybe 2 of these rainbow bookshelves. But when you get to the ones up above, like in my extender shelves, you have the Guidepost Mysteries and then the Christy Miller series. And I have quite a few up there I haven't read. So if we're just going to do like these entire 2 bookshelves that I filmed from floor to ceiling, then yes, I think 90% is a really fair estimate. But if we're just talking about like these main rainbow shelves, then I honestly can only think of 2 that I haven't read that need to happen. That hate to love romance stories annoy you. Ooh, I mentioned this in my favorite book tropes, that I like it when it's not a pure hate. Like, that's not romantic. When it's like a hate, when it's like a pure hate, I don't like that, because that's just not romantic to me. That can be abusive. So I don't like it when it's like they're loathing each other. But when like maybe they got off on the wrong foot, or they're competitors or something, that I'm completely fine with. But yeah, the loathing, pranking each other, that kind of thing, I don't think that's entertaining. So that kind definitely annoys me. That you're a fast reader. I guess this is true. I mean, I have done my reading speed prior. My mom was always like, Lindsey, let's do your reading speed. Especially when like in elementary, junior high, and high school, man, every year we would do that. And I have consistently got faster because I read more. I don't know it off the top of my head what my last score was, but yeah, I guess I'm a fast reader. I try to read, like if it's a 300-page book, I can typically get it done in less than 3 hours, maybe a little under 3 hours. So I don't know if that's fast or not. I'll let y'all be the judge of that. That you have to read books multiple times to do reviews, once to enjoy, once to make notes. That's really interesting. No, bottom line of that is basically no. That would be a false assumption. Just in the sense of that mainly I read a book and I'm reading it and then I'm reviewing as I read it. I have my laptop, I'm typing it up. I used to do handwriting, like handwritten notes, and yeah, that's long gone. I'm no longer doing that. My poor hands now. So yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. I did talk about it though in the history of BFCG video, which I'll link up there. No, typically no. I do have like the Melody Carlson books that I mentioned in the last video. Those are all books I read prior to BFCG, so I guess you could say those were books I read to enjoy, but now I have to reread them to review. So that's really the only situation where I read the book prior to BFCG, and now I have to reread to review. That's really the only time that happens, but typically no. The large, I'd say probably 98% of the books I reviewed on BFCG were read once and then reviewed that same time. Interesting assumption. You have never read anything by Francine Rivers. I read like half of one, and that was more than enough. You only have 3 hardcover books. Okay, I have more than that, y'all. I have more than that. Now, I'm gonna clarify. I count hardcover as the books that have a dust jacket on them, not the ones like the Christy Miller series where like the picture is imprinted to the cover. I don't really count that. That's like a half hardback, half paperback point in my opinion. It's like in between the two. Like those circles that overlap. You know those charts where the circle overlaps? Here's paperback, here's hardback, and then this little bit that overlaps is a lot of preteen hardback or the Christy Miller hardback, in the sense of they have the cover printed on the cover picture printed on the cover, and there's no dust jacket. So for dust jacket though, let's count. Okay, The Golden Braid by Melanie Dickerson. They're basically all going to be Melanie Dickerson books, like warning now. So, The Warrior Maiden, we have 2. Oh, Chasing Jupiter by Rachel Coker. 3. I messed up my flower. The Noble Servant by Melanie Dickerson. The Silent Songbird by Melanie Dickerson. The Orphan's Wish by Melanie Dickerson, Fox by Nadine Brandes, Interrupted by Rachel Coker. Oh, With a Name Like Love by Tessa Hilmo. Romanoff by Nadine Brandes. The Huntress of Thornbeck by Melanie Dickerson. So yes, on these rainbow bookshelves, I have 11. I have 11, y'all. They're mainly Melanie Dickerson, so. Okay, another assumption is you read books written by women only. And that's a really good assumption, I think, because that's pretty true for me. I have a lot of difficulty reading a book written by an older man of a teen girl's point of view. I have a lot. That's a giant red flag to me, because that typically means there's going to be a whole lot of stereotypes. And I have turned down authors for review because they fall into that category. So I do typically read by women. I have like the Left Behind Kids series, those were written by 2 men. But yeah, typically I stick with my female authors. But again, that's really the majority of what Christian fiction is written by women. And it's mainly romance books, so. Okay, this one got put into the other category, but I'm going to put it here in this book category. And that's you hate when people say they don't read. And I wouldn't say I hate it at all, because like I wasn't a reader when I was younger, so I kind of can understand. And I kind of wonder, well, what do you do then? Like, what's your hobbies? What do you do around all day? And typically it's like Netflix, I watch movies, that kind of thing. And, you know, that's just not something I have in common with that person. But that's okay. I don't think that's a bad thing. So no, I wouldn't say I hate it. I would just wonder. And yeah, I probably would try to get them to read at least one book that I like. But, you know, if they're just, that's not their thing, I'm not going to push that on them. Okay, and now the more personal / other assumptions. Okay, some of y'all are throwing shade at me. No, I'm kidding. Y'all were very kind and very sweet through all of these assumptions, so thank you so very much. And let's get started. You like animals. I got quite a few about like you're a dog person. you aren't a fan of cats, that kind of thing. I got quite a few animal related ones. And so yes, I do like animals, I guess in the general sense. I am completely a dog person, and I have no clue what to do with cats. My dad is actually allergic to cats, so I've never grown up around cats. And they really confuse me. If we're being frankly honest, cats confuse me. Because I remember one time I went to go take a lady's pictures with her cats, because she had to go, like, get them. Like, they were hiding, and that was really mind-boggling to me. So I'm like, they don't come when you call, and apparently not. And then she had me hold one, and I'm like, I have no clue what to do with this thing. It's so little. And I go, oh, she's wagging her tail. Does that mean she's happy? She goes, and she calls from the bedroom. She's under her bed. She goes, no, you might want to move your hand. I'm like, that doesn't mean they're happy. So no, cats completely confuse me. I have been raised around dogs my entire life. We used to dog sit. I remember one time when I was in elementary school, one Saturday, we had 5 dogs in the house. It was chaos, but so much fun. I'll see if I can find that picture, but I don't know if we have it, like, accessible, so we'll see. But if not, someday I'll share it on my Instagram story. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with cats. I love dogs, been around them. Like, when I see a cute puppy video, I'm like, oh, I want to hug it. And then when I see a cute cat video, I'm just like, oh, that's cute. Like, it's not really, yeah. Sorry, cat lovers. I'm more of a dog person. And honestly, I've been told my personality is more like a dog, too, which I'm not sure what that means. No, it just means you're energetic, I hope. So, like, I hear people say, oh, you have a beagle-like personality. I'm like, my dog's rubbed off of me. She's a beagle. She's my baby. I love my baby. Okay. Anywho, you like wearing Converse shoes. I feel like this is completely random, but no, I actually don't own any. I was really into them when I was like a preteen, but then, yeah, I just kind of lost interest in them, and now I live in my Skechers. I love my Skechers so much. I love that they tone my legs while I walk around in them. They also have a little bit of a base on them, so it makes me an inch taller. So, yeah. I prefer my Skechers or even flip-flop sandals. You prefer big earrings to small ones. This is really funny. And I feel like I should clarify because I think some of y'all know and some of y'all maybe didn't notice, but I actually don't have my ears pierced. So the earrings you see in my past videos or future videos are clip-ons. I have no problem admitting that. That used to be kind of like an embarrassment thing. It's like, oh, you don't have your ears pierced? But yeah, I don't. So yeah. I grew up hearing stories of when my mom got her ears pierced, the gun got stuck in her ear. So hearing that from a child, I'm never getting my ears pierced. That's what I hear. But I do think there's a lot of beautiful earrings. So I'm a little disappointed, and I keep like, do I want to get my ears pierced? But then it always goes back to, I can't do pain. I don't do needles. I don't do pain. So yeah, I probably will never get my ears pierced. But in the sense of that I prefer big earrings to small ones, I definitely love my big hoops. Love my big hoops. I have a few small hoops, but yeah, I guess I prefer the bigger ones to the little ones. I do own some, I just never wear them. So maybe that's a subconscious truth. I don't know. You tend to be dramatic or exaggerate sometimes. Just assumptions, you know. Well, dramatic, probably, completely. Exaggerating, I hope I don't, in the sense of these videos. Because dramatic, yeah, I'm probably definitely dramatic. I have my moments just like other people. But when it comes to exaggerating, I kind of feel like that's getting closer to a white lie or just a normal lie. And so I definitely have tried to be cautious when exaggerating. Yeah, I definitely have been cautious to my own self to make sure I try not to exaggerate, especially in these videos, because these videos are out here on the internet for everyone to see. Not that everyone sees them, thankfully, but just they're out there. And so I don't want to be embarrassed by something I posted, or something has dramatically changed, or I wasn't truthful. So I try not to exaggerate. I try to be very cautious with that. Dramatic, yeah. Exaggerating, I hope not. So half yes, half no. You don't like coffee. I actually have never had coffee. Ever. My dad drinks it black. My mom's not a fan of coffee at all. I really don't like the smell of it in general, and I'm pretty sure my mom has kept it away from me just because she's terrified that I'm going to like it, because I love drinking bitter things, like bitter tea. Oh, so good. Oh, I love just straight green tea. Oh, it's so good. But I can't really say that I don't like it because I've never tried it. You're super organized. Thank you, I think so. I am very much a type A organizing, multitasking perfectionist. So yeah, super organized. I'd like to think so. Yes, that is definitely a skill I wear with pride because I love organizing. I love organizing. It's weird, but it's just stress relieving to me. And so yes, I definitely would agree with that assumption. That's true. You're older than you look. That was a first. How old do I look though? That's the key thing, y'all. I have never been told I look older than my age when people find out my age. So I'd be curious to know how old you think I am. Y'all are gonna watch this a few days after my 20th birthday. So do I look 20 or do I still look like I'm 14, 16? Because I get that so many times. I'm like, no, I've graduated college, y'all. Not in high school, thank you, but I don't know. I look older than I look. I don't know if that's true or not. It depends on how old you think I am. You've never tried contact lenses. Okay, I have a story about this one because this is all this video is going to end up being is stories. I've had glasses since I was about 8. So I've had them over half my life, as we just said about my age. So I've had them over half my life. And to be honest, my first pair of glasses were Hannah Montana glasses, and I particularly wanted those glasses, even though I was a big Hannah Montana fan, I wanted them because the case had little straps so it looked like a purse, and I'm just like, that is the coolest thing ever. I did try contacts for a year when I was 12, and it was, because I was young, it was completely against the doctor's recommendation, but I wanted to try them because I was feeling, I guess, kind of influenced by the world in the sense of like the media I was seeing. Is you never saw a Disney Channel star with glasses unless they were the nerd or the dork or, you know, things like that. And so I think that really was kind of affecting my confidence. But then I tried to do contacts and I could not put them in to save my life. Or take them out. I couldn't even get them in to take them out. Like, it was insane. So I kind of quickly lost interest in that. But then when I had like my mom help me or the doctor help me put them in, it was just really weird not having something on my face. So that was a really big change. But also, because I was a preteen, I was starting to get really bad acne. And so I felt like if I kept with the contact route, I would have to learn more about makeup, and I wasn't interested in that at this time. But now, I love my glasses. I can see out of them. The whole touching my eyeball thing really doesn't interest me. So yeah, I mean, I have tried. Long story short, I have tried contacts for a year when I was 12. Didn't like them, ended up going back to my glasses and full out loving my glasses because they bring color to my face and they add personality. So, you're on the taller side. Love to know why you think this, dear Hannah. No, I mean, I'm on the taller side of 4'9". I'm 5'3". Let's just put it that way. I'm 5'3". So I'm barely 5'3". Let's take that back. I'm barely 5'3". Like, I just grew half an inch because I was 5'2.5" for the longest, and now I'm 5'3". So that's about 161, 162 centimeters roughly. I am just barely at 5'3". So it depends on what your definition of tall is. I don't think that's tall, but you know, a lot of the people around me are that height or a little shorter. So I feel tall at sometimes. But yeah, I've been told my entire life growing up that I could either end up 5'2" to 6'2" based on like my family's gene pool. But to be honest, I don't think we have anyone who's 6'2", so I think my mom just said that because it rhymed. But yeah, I ended up being 5'3", basically. So we'll see. I like my height. I'm good with that because then I can wear like 3-inch heels and not be crazy tall. And I don't know. I like wearing heels. And I like wearing tall heels, so it works out. You're a vegan. Yes, in a way. I'm definitely a vegan in the sense of like I don't eat meat or animal products. I don't do honey, dairy, fish, all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. So that vegan, yes. Those aspects of vegan, completely yes. I started that in beginning 2016, but I was already weaning meat out of my diet the prior year because I just didn't feel good when I ate it. And then the big step for me was getting rid of dairy, and that cleared up my acne tremendously. I talked about this a bit in my huge long Q&A I did in Hawaii, which I'll link up there, and I have pictures and whatnot. So if you want to go be scarred, no, I'm kidding. Just scarred by how bad my acne was. But yes, I am technically a vegan, I guess, but I don't want to say restrictions or a diet because that makes it sound like I can't eat it, but it's more of like this is something I've chosen to do. So I choose not to eat meat, I choose not to eat dairy, that kind of thing. And the same thing is with I prefer not to eat white flour. Wheat flour is not my preferred one. I like almond flour. I love almond flour, or brown rice flour. If I have to have any bread kind of things, I try to stay away from white flour because that does then turn into sugar in your body, which then turns into acne because it's trying to escape your skin. So yeah, little scientific fun fact there. You can do more research on it. But I am more, I guess the word would be strict with what I eat than most vegans are. So I'm more like a plant-based diet in the sense of I really eat a lot of vegetables. I do a lot of juice, smoothies, chickpeas are a favorite, brown rice, quinoa. So part of me wants to do a video on that on my other channel, but I'm not sure if y'all would be interested in it or anyone would be interested in it. It's not like I would do like a day in my life as a vegan eater kind of thing. But yeah, it's just I try to stay away from more things than the typical vegan does. And yeah, so yes and no, basically yeah. You seem to be a fun person to go on vacation with. Thank you, I think so. I asked my mom this and she goes, why would they ask that? I'm like, what does that mean? I think I am. Thank you for thinking so. I really appreciate that. I think I am. But you know, to the people who've traveled with me, I don't know. All I gotta say is I would get you that Instagram picture. I'd get you so many. This would be the problem traveling with me. I would get you so many Instagram pictures, you wouldn't know which one to post. You wouldn't know, so I'd just tell you to post them all. That would be the problem with traveling with me. I'm a planner. I'm a very much a go with the flow kind of person. So you know, let's go on a trip. It'd be fun. That was such a fun assumption. Thank you. You love books. I'd say that's true. You are ahead of your reading challenge on Goodreads. Yes, because my reading challenge is only 50 books. So I'm about 14 books ahead, I think. But we'll see. You live in the Midwest. I'd love to know what gave you that idea, though. I'm very curious on this one. No. Born and raised in Texas. Love my Texas. Have I said anything that sounds like a Midwestern way of saying things? And I'm only asking that question because my dad is from Wisconsin, but he's lived here in Texas longer than he lived in Wisconsin. And like he grew up there, so how he speaks is like he has certain things that he says that me and my mom kind of laugh at him because I'm like, we don't say that here, Daddy. You're being an obvious Texas transplant, which is what we call someone who comes to Texas. They weren't born or raised here, but they come to Texas, so they're a Texas transplant. Fun fact. So there's been certain things, like Coke. Here in Texas, you're kind of supposed to say, like, if you want carbonated drink in the sense of, like, Dr. Pepper, Sprite, 7-Up, that kind of thing. If you want that, you just say a Coke at the restaurant, and they're like, what kind of Coke? And then you can say Dr. Pepper or Sprite, whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean, like, Coca-Cola, the drink. And so I've never really had that because my mom stopped drinking that when I was younger, and so my dad has really been the only one that does it. So because of his influence, I call it soda pop, and that's very much a Midwestern thing, I know, because I've had Texans go, Lindsey, weren't you raised here? And I was. But I do have a bit of an influence with things he says and how he says things. But that's a very interesting assumption. Very interesting. No, I'm from Texas. You wear different clothes every day and have a style for videos only. That's an interesting one. Okay, if we're gonna be frankly honest, y'all, I put so much thought into what I wear for these videos, and I definitely try not to repeat outfits, which makes it sound like I have a huge closet. I don't. I just try to restyle things, and I want it to be different. And with the thumbnail showing part of what I wear, I've been very like, okay, I don't want to have two blues against each other, so this video needs to be switched, or I need to change outfits for this. It's kind of ridiculous how much time I put into that effort, into that project, but I definitely try to dress up a little bit more for these videos. Like, there's a lot of things y'all have seen that I only wear to like church or to a more dressier event. And so y'all see a lot of that like the typical person wouldn't see if they just saw me during the weekdays. So do I have a style for videos only? Yeah, I guess kind of, in a way, a little bit. Yes and no, but I definitely have worn more casual things that I wear all throughout the week, but then I do have my more dressier things that I wear like this, that I would only wear to like church or wedding, you know, things like that. So kind of yes and no. You are insanely crafty. Well, if you mean crafty as in evil plan, then possibly. But if you mean crafty as in like craft supplies, then I'd like to think so. I really enjoy it. I've been getting into not necessarily bullet journaling, but that same kind of style. I'm a little bit too much of a perfectionist to do the actual bullet journaling. My sweet Daisy just wants to be in this video so much. So yes, it depends on which crafty you mean. I'm pretty sure you mean like as in craft supplies. And I'd like to think so. I have a lot of fun with it. Literally, I plugged in the glue gun the other day for my felt flowers, and every time I do, I'm like, Mom, it smells like my childhood. And she thinks that's the weirdest thing ever, but she can't deny it because we did so many crafts when I was younger. So many. Like, y'all, I can't even begin to describe how many crafts we did when I was little, and elementary and junior high all the way to high school, and now college. I like crafting, and Hobby Lobby is one of my favorite places on earth. So yeah. Is that all I have? Did I get them all done? I got them all done! Yay, me! Okay, cool. Wow, y'all. Wow, that was a lot of assumptions. So I want to thank you all so very much for submitting them and doing nice ones. I was a wee bit concerned, but I wasn't too concerned. I thought y'all would be nice to me, so I appreciate y'all being nice to me. And it was really fun to see what y'all had and then to kind of correct maybe some opinions. But honestly, I think most of y'all were pretty right on. So that's cool. That's really cool. That means y'all have like watched my videos and you know me. So thank you all. Y'all are so kind and so sweet. And this was fun. I don't really watch this kind of video too much, this assumption tag. I don't watch too many of these unless I really like the person that I'm watching. So it was neat to kind of do it my own way and kind of have people go, well, I want it. I don't typically like it, but I would watch yours. So I'm like, oh, thank you. So to those who said that, there was a few of y'all who said that, and y'all are just the sweetest things ever. So thank you. I answered a lot of assumptions, and we drank some good juice. I still haven't finished my juice. Juicing, y'all, is my new current thing. I'm loving juicing. We got a juicer, and it's so much fun. So that's really it for this video. Thank you all again so much for sending these and be willing to watch it. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something new about me. Let me know what we have in common down below if there's anything that stood out. And I'll see y'all next time. I'm Lindsey from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where in 2019 there's a new review every Friday. I try to post a new video on this channel every other Thursday, and I'm on Instagram somewhat randomly, hopefully more often, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!